Hi guys, welcome to my channel. When you are about or marrying a person who lies to you, what to do? Well, first of all, before you get married, pay attention to little signs. For example, white lies. When a person tells you a story, but they don't tell you little details that are important, and they think that if they don't tell you these details, then it's not a lie. For example, if someone is lying straight up to you, then it's a red flag. If someone says, hey, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend, but well, let's talk to each other before we meet any exes, okay, we made an agreement, and then 2 months passed and that person tells you, so I met with my ex today for tea. It's like, wait a second, didn't you ask for that agreement yourself? So these type of things are an indicator that you are dealing with someone who is either going to pathologically lie because they don't even notice that they do it, or purposely. So some things people don't disclose. For example, they want to appear someone they're not. They're not disclosing how much credit card debts they have, and they drive fancy car. They invite you to restaurants, but they actually cannot afford to invite you to restaurants, and it's all on credit cards. They are not disclosing who they are. For example, if you're Russian, they're like, oh yeah, I have Russian, and they start lying about having Russian ancestors just to get you hooked. So those people are usually the ones who are going to disappoint later, because it never gets better, it just gets worse. So now, let's say you ignore all of this and hope that the relationship will improve, and it can happen, but most likely it won't. But now you're married to that person. So are you liable for their debt that they had before marriage? No. Anything they had before marriage is considered separate property. So the problem is that the pattern is going to continue, and they're going to incur more debt during the marriage, and in that case you're liable unless you have a prenuptial agreement. And so the solution is either to have, if you don't have a prenuptial agreement, to have a postnuptial agreement to exclude the debt that the person incurred during the marriage, or accept the fact that they have this debt, have a conversation, therapy, whatever it takes, that it doesn't happen, and pay it down sooner than later, because 30% APR rate on credit cards is not a joke. So that's the debt part. Now, you could be marrying someone who is wealthy but underplaying it. For example, they have a lot of assets, they want you to have a prenup, and they don't disclose that they have assets, for example, in other country. And then you find out during the marriage that they have these assets. Well, there is a problem sometimes. Technically, you could set it aside, the prenuptial agreement, if there is a divorce, and ask for, perhaps if it's not a good prenup for you, ask for community property law. But if those assets are outside of California, outside of United States, for example, in Saudi Arabia and Dubai, there is no extradition. This person can disappear and keep these assets, or in Russia. So there are some countries that don't have extradition agreements, they don't have Hague Convention treaties. I mean, you got to be aware not only who you marry, but what country they have assets potentially in, given their origin. And even setting aside the prenuptial agreement might not be a solution if they have assets offshore and they have a potential to disappear. So it goes into negotiation of the prenuptial agreement. I had clients call me up and say, well, but this asset, it's outside of the United States. Why would I disclose it? And I explained to them why, and they didn't hire me for a prenup. Guess what? Next lawyer, probably they didn't even ask that question. They just didn't disclose it, probably. So that's how it goes. Now, if someone is lying about the very significant things, for example, if having children is important to you, but the person is lying that they are capable to make children, but they're not, that is an annulment case. The debt, not so much. If you're marrying someone who has credit card debt and they lied about it, it's not going to fly for an annulment. It's just life, right? But if, for example, marriage has not been consummated because of inability to have sexual intercourse for whatever reason, that could be an annulment case based on fraud, based on non-disclosure before marriage, knowingly that it's an important factor for you. So this is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment down below if you have any questions. Like, subscribe. I'll see you later. Bye.